next time. The Decentraland Report is one of the most fascinating elements of Decentraland, and it breaks my heart that we can't give it the time it truly deserves. They style themselves as the first ever decentralized news network, reporting on the latest breaking news of the metaverse. Between grants and private funding, it has received over $250,000 USD, $250,000 of investment. It is an organization operated by Kevin Clark, better known by his handle KevinOnEarth999. We'll let him explain what it means.
Decentralized legend! I freaking like this guy. Listen, jokes aside, as I said, I would definitely be lakeside with this guy. He's gonna shit on me at some point. Has to be. News networks give the public the power to control event coverage, reporters, and how the network will evolve over time. Tokens are distributed to the public based on participation and can be used to purchase event coverage, ad space, and vote on key decisions such as the addition or removal of actual news reporters.
Just to stress this, to highlight it and make sure that you're aware, this is not us catastrophizing or editorializing. The ability for the crowd to fire reporters is an explicit feature.
Imagine if you could use a token to vote off a reporter from the news.
You can buy the ability to fire a reporter, and that's deliberate because it gives the token resale value, which incentivizes participation. The editorial agenda of the Decentraland Report is not just nominally available for purchase, it is proudly available for purchase. The Decentraland Report is a news outlet that hates journalism. It takes the very messy subject of journalistic independence, the way that journalism often functions as willing collaborators with systemic power, and the reasons why we should be legitimately skeptical, alert, and literate in how we intake media, and uses that to advocate for a radical populism masquerading as neutrality. The logic is that institutions are inherently biased, therefore less institution means less bias, and no institution.
One point that I do want to clarify, exactly, Jumpin' Spider, I was going to say exactly that. You can't buy a report token. So, one big vital error in your understanding, sir. You must earn your report. You should participate to earn experience, sir. You could only earn the report token by either tuning in. There is a video just about that, how to earn report tokens. You can't buy report tokens.
Means no bias. Their trust model is explicitly rooted in their incompetence. Kevin's rhetoric is part and parcel with the conspiratorial thinking that leads people to trust misinformation they found on Facebook, specifically because they found it on a page that gets flagged by Facebook as misinformation. It shares a table with the belief that reporters exist to deceive the public, and so the only journalism you can trust comes from those who hate journalism.
With this, now he's saying that people hate journalism. He's imposing, that's a strong projection right there. Decentralized approach to news. The public can take control of global narratives, focus on fact-based reporting, versus bias-based reporting, which is focused more on getting views than telling the truth.
Kevin's vision for the news is downright dystopian. It's a killer writing prompt if you're in need of ideas. So what's the product? You want to see some journalism so unprofessional that it would make even the writers at The Defiant cringe?
Any giveaways? Yeah, for sure, man. If you hang around, I'll definitely do a giveaway, man. So we just hop on in right here to Dice Masters. Highly encourage you guys, come on through. I just want to show support to Dice Masters, you know.
And then we'll kind of move it into the auction phase with
explicitly rude journalism.
Encourage you guys, come on through. I just want to show support to
my music is being used there. That music was not licensed from me. This is crossing a legal boundary here.
Any giveaways? Yeah, for sure, man. If you hang.
This is the other thing. He's using content from the channel without permission to use the content. I want to see more, but he's also using the music. That's kind of
around. I'll definitely do a giveaway, man. So we just hop on in right here to Dice Masters. Highly encourage you guys, come on through. I just want to show support to Dice Masters, you know.
And then we'll kind of move it into the auction phase with,
Wait, this video right here is the first ever live stream I ever did. The first ever live stream I ever did. He's like, you want to see some unprofessional reporter? Yeah, literally, I had literally financed a computer from Best Buy like a week before that and decided to start this because nobody was streaming in Decentraland. Like on Twitch, there was nobody there. And I decided that's what I was going to go try out. Like, damn.
Hopping
At least use some older content.
from gallery to gallery.
That sounds like a great time.
As recommended by Shawnee, upon the passing of this grant, we agree to pay back 10% of our
Like
monthly
this is a
revenue to the DAO.
community. This is a community effort. Just people who just took this new experience, new journey of saying, I'm gonna start live streaming. I'm gonna start, sharing with the public what's actually happening on a day-to-day basis in the metaverse. And this guy is like talking down on me. That's kind of sad. Like how, this person who intellectualizes themselves can't even actually do their homework to know that you can't actually buy the report token. That, like, this person so highly intellectualizes themselves. I'm sorry, Dan. All the respect to you. Not trying to, but like, if you're going to at least, you're clearly taking only the content which fulfills your narrative. And you didn't even take the opportunity, you talk about hating journalism. At least we interview people. You didn't even talk to me or any of us to even get the information that you got here. You literally found the first things that you could. And congratulations.
Perpetuity until the grant amount is paid back to the DAO. That's amazing. That to me is epic.
It's just Twitch streams.
No fucking way! Do you fucking hear that, motherfuckers? That's what the fucking metaverse was missing! Meadow!
He, by the way, cut out an amazing set that happened right before that. Like, this person has no idea what happened just before that, okay? Literally, like, just before that, it was not Ozzy, one of those bands from the Megadeth. Right before that, Megadeth had just literally thrown down like one of the biggest rock sets unannounced. They were just doing a sound check, and randomly this dude came on here. Like, people were just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, he cut out the whole cultural significance of that moment. That is very true. Holy shit, that is very freaking true. Wow. I appreciate that he left my Twitch handle in there. That was Big Dave. Says Big Dave is talking. Listen the fuck up. Wow. That was, wow. That was sound check. You gotta be kidding me. That is crazy how out of context that shot is. That is crazy. He literally, imagine someone like did a front flip in front of you and then they only recorded the reaction and people were like, what is this person so excited about? That was freaking sound check. You gotta be kidding me.
I know, right? It's pretty disappointing that after all that talk about the philosophy of journalism, this ship runs aground over the fact that nothing remotely worth reporting happens in Decentraland in the first place. So the risk of journalistic malpractice is functionally zero. Despite the lofty ambitions of the network, these guys are ultimately harmless. They're just small streamers cosplaying as reporters while hanging out with their handful of regulars talking about the video game they like to play. That said, there's still a story here. They still raised $250,000, right? Did that at least pay someone? Well, no. Reporters aren't paid.
Whoa. Now I want to see what he says here.
As such, they get paid in the report token and they get a cut of the organization's monthly revenue on Expand, a crypto meets Twitter meets Patreon platform. At the time of writing, that's around $120 total. Expand takes a 10% cut, there's another 10% cut for their grant repayment, a phrase that shouldn't exist, and then the remainder is split 9 ways. There's the possibility.
By the way, he very quickly skims over this. That 10% of what we use in our funds goes to the grant repayment. That's not a grant. You didn't dinguses, that's a loan. Literally, this guy has no freaking clue. Wow. We literally choose to pay back 10% of our community revenue because we choose to return the value back to the community to support future artists in the community. So literally, yes, we understand we don't have to repay, but we choose to repay. And it's not a loan, it's a grant. We are choosing to pay back that grant with the value created by our community. You're very smart, though.
Ability of one-time donations on top of that, which get cut the same way, but on average, the individual reporters are looking at about $10 a month. This isn't a great deal, especially since the streamer...
Think about it, $10 a month. First of all of us reporters, we never got into this because we wanted to make money. We started to do it because we just wanted to share the news about the metaverse to the world. He also misses out that reporters earn wearables for completing certain number of events. So while everyone was clicking the things at Wondermine, I said, let's give them something more productive to do that actually creates value in this world, which is to collect our history and to share exciting events that they're being a part of with other people in the world who clearly don't understand the culture. And so they would get their own one-of-one wearable after their 26th report. So it wasn't just like, this person just doesn't understand the culture.
Reporters need to provide their own equipment. So it's no surprise that Kevin has failed to draw in any Pulitzer Prize winners. Who he's ended up with is an ensemble of Decentraland users who just want to grow their stream by associating with an org. They're all broadcasting from their personal Twitch streams. What they get from the org is the DCLR branding, which, it doesn't draw in the crowds. Every single stream we caught had extremely low viewership, almost always fewer than 10 viewers, often under 5. Kevin's personal and DCLR brand.
It's a niche community, folks. A lot of people also come for the VODs. And let's be honest, I have 6 viewers right now, but people watching, have I ever done this for the viewers? Have I ever, if I was really doing this for viewers, there's a lot of things I would be doing to attract that. I'm not doing this for the viewers, Dan. I'm doing this because I'm an authentic person who represents a message that I stand by in a culture that is something that I'm grateful to be a part of. I'm not doing this because 1,000 people are trying to tune into my stream. I'm doing this because I appreciate the 1 or 2, 1-2 people. For me, it doesn't mean that it's more than 1,000 people. What matters is that I'm authentic to myself. Tobik, I'm actually grateful for this. People here are with nearly 1 million subscribers are so influenced by the things that I'm creating is freaking amazing. I'm not stressed. I'm a very adaptable person. I'm also part Italian, and that part of me, is loud, is active. I think anyone who tunes into this channel knows that I'm a pretty active person, right?
Branded YouTube channels don't fare any better. A video is a success if it breaks 100 views.
Okay, so if you go to the channel, my actual channel, he failed to know that DCL Report channel was created only a few months ago. Whereas this is my main channel, and if you go to my main channel, there are DCL videos here that have 24,000 views, 16,000 views. How to enter the metaverse, 10,000 views, 4.9 thousand. There are plenty of videos here. So again, another situation of this person not really doing their research.
On Kevin on Earth, did the money go?
Where did the money go, folks?
Okay. The reporters only get paid from the expand pot. DCLR doesn't buy them lights or webcams. The only thing left to even spend it on is Decentraland itself.
That's beautiful.
The Decentraland Report.
Dude, what has this guy ever built? Does he not see how beautiful this thing is?
Is the perfect showcase of Web3's ability to cause money to just evaporate. The build is called the Meta Flower, which is a reference to an NFT of a super yacht from other metaverse candidates.
What? That is more information. This is not a reference to Sandbox or whatever. This is a reference to the fact that through a seed that we first created in our very first build. If you don't remember, obviously you don't remember because you weren't there and you don't do your homework. In our very first build, we built this and it had a little seed at the bottom and it was designed to be a flower that was blossoming out of the digital soil of the metaverse. And that through attention, love, and caring about what you do more than what people's opinions are. Clearly this guy cares more about people's opinions than the things he's created, because I don't even know what this guy's created. But the fact that he can look at this and like, he has no care for art.
Sandbox that sold. Know what? Doesn't matter. Use.
And he's misleading his community to think that he even knows like where, you know, this guy is almost like it's a little, you know, lost a little respect from me on that one.
Using allegedly very expensive tech, the flower is intended to develop and bloom as the number of subscribers on the expand page grows. Of course, we need to take Kevin's word on that because the count is currently 22 followers towards the goal of 10,000, so the building has remained in its initial form. What we're left with is this.
He's also not talking about how those funds, how majority of those funds, I'm sure some people from his audience are here. Please bring your questions. Absolutely. I'm sure what he hasn't even referenced is that majority of those funds went towards building our reward automation system. It wasn't towards building. That build was the cherry on top towards what it really took for us, which was 6 months to build this automation, this entire reward automation system. So that is for you to be able to distribute our own cryptocurrency token, for us to have our own store where you can use the token that you earn for being a part of the community and completing bounties. Like, this was developed over 6 months with a team of developers, you know? Like, I wouldn't expect this person to know what it takes to build a fucking Lincoln log cabin, let alone what it takes to build a decentralized reward distribution system that ties into a metaverse space whilst running a tech company full time. Like, you have no clue, bro. Do your homework. You could have called me, bro. I could have saved you the embarrassment.
We've got walls laced with Kevin's prized NFTs, 2 platforms that I am assured are the studios where presenters are intended to stand, the decision room where the DCLR DAO members will meet once the DAO gets some, and then we have the butthole tunnel that takes us.
Yes! Oh my god, that is hilarious. The butthole tunnel.
To an alien in a rice patty hat who tells us that we need to save the
Clearly doesn't recognize an I'm a Degen, one of the most OG interoperable NFTs within Web3 culture. But the racist...
T's, 2 platforms that I am assured are the studios where presenters are intended to stand, the decision room where the DCLR DAO members will meet once the DAO gets some, and then we have the butthole tunnel that takes us to an alien in a rice patty hat who tells us that we need to save the
That's mildly racist.
Decentraland Report by gathering news juice, and it turns out that news juice means please follow Kevin and Pals on Twitter. Wait.
Tell me that isn't a genius user experience. That, I think, is an amazing and discovery experience for people who have never been to the metaverse before.
Kevin's in here twice.
He definitely did a good deal of surface level research on the report, but the minimum he could have done is give me a call, bro.
Strangely, there's no news in the DCLR HQ. What they do give you is a link to an entirely different 3D web application called OnCyber. So you're sitting there, computer frying from running Decentraland, and if you want to see some news at the Metaverse News building, Kevin wants you to open up another 3D site that loads up 24 YouTube videos at once and then crashes Firefox entirely. It's absurd.
This guy doesn't know how to internet.
Needless to say, the Decentraland build
that's me as Jay Dilla.
Contributes extremely little to the utility of running a news network. We don't know precisely how much this whole thing cost beyond about $35,000 for the land, but given that the $127,000 in grants are reasonably well accounted for, it would seem that, after the boring stuff like building the website and Twitch assets, this as a whole represents Kevin's $126,000. So let's focus on those grants. Kevin received 4 grants from the Decentraland DAO.
Let's see.
2 were to hire an editor for DCLR. Both paid the editor $50 per edit in mana. Then there was a $5,000 grant in September of 2021 to create unique in-game jackets for reporters as a milestone reward for 6 months' work. And then there was the big one, a $120,000 US grant in stablecoins to build the back end for DCLR's reward system. Since decentralized news is all about rewarding participation, including viewership, you need to build that system. Pretty much the same tech that handles Twitch drops to service a community of like 30 people. The decentralized philosophy of the project demands this type of massive, inefficient system exist as a starting point. You can't expand into these solutions naturally. So Kevin spent $35,000 on land, potentially $91,000 on the studio.
Inaccurate. I definitely did not spend $35,000. Well, $35,000 was spent, but it wasn't from the grant. Let's just be clear. Like, that was land that we had before the grant. We had already built on that land before the grant, and anyone who's been around knows that.
Build, $5,000 on jackets, and $120,000 on this reward system, and then went back to the grant program looking for another $240,000, 32 of which was allotted to reporter equipment and included salaries for a marketing director, content manager, graphic designer, and so on.
Decentraland doesn't have its own media team. So yeah, you're welcome for wanting to put my effort into building a media machine to bring users into Decentraland.
In what would seem to have been the only lucid moment in the fever dream of the grant scheme, Kevin was told no. 2 more reduced proposals have also been rejected. You know what we haven't talked about in a while?
Another thing he didn't talk about is how I pioneered the shutting down of the frickin' DAO. Like, I've always been at the forefront of that. I was the first person to frickin' have a grant approved, and I was also one of those people who showed continued perseverance after getting shut down. And it was soon after that that the entire DAO was shut down. It wasn't just about one. Every proposal at that point was being shut down. So I think it's important for people to know the context of which a lot of this stuff was happening. But honestly, I'm kind of impressed at the quality of this reporting. You know, there are certain minute details which aren't necessarily accurate, but not bad. He could have definitely done that last 10% if he had just given me a call, bro. But nonetheless, I think it's pretty solid.
Chocolate.
Is it legal to him expose your accounting? Yeah, it's public info. It's on the blockchain. It's okay for, and I actually, a lot of the information that he's giving is information that I actually put out on my own channel. So for those of you who might want to get the full story in terms of what my experience was in the DCL DAO, you can go ahead and visit our DAO report presentation right here. And you can watch this and it will show you the entire experience from my perspective.
I mean, sure, Lint has their metaverse, but surely chocolate giant Hershey wouldn't be left behind. Well, if you've got a craving, you're in luck. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from the Sugar Club, you can experience Hersheyverse, the official metaverse holiday home of Hershey chocolates of India and the Philippines.
I just want to say right there, how long? I think I had a solid 9 minutes of that. Epic. Holy moly. I think I need to link people to this. Even though there's a lot of stuff that is inaccurate, I think I need to. What do you think, folks? I gotta come over here. And I want to say, all due respect, all much love. Everyone has their opinion. I think that, like, I'm actually really, really, really excited at the coverage we got here, folks. Do you understand, like, for me... he makes some valid points. I absolutely think this guy's making some valid points. I really enjoyed
him explain.
I really enjoyed the opportunity to get like a honest, without me in the room, opinion on, and I'm not expecting people to right off the bat, especially not having the information from me and talking to me about what has been done here, what the goals were, like the intricacies of what happens in the back end before ever, obviously
So cluttered with the extreme cyberspace aesthetic that it's barely even legible as a mall, and the whole notion is keel-hauled by the fact that this is a miserable interface for actually buying.
Listen, this guy is a fudster. His job is literally known fudster. His job is to shine, fear, uncertainty, and doubt on things that are relevant within the Web3 space. This guy has 793,000 subscribers.
Things, which is the actual purpose of a mall. The result, an empty shopping experience plagued with bots.
793,000 subscribers, folks.
Isn't just a dead mall, it's an undead mall, stuttering along in a parody of life. Now, they did seek a new grant in late 2022, asking for an additional 60,000 USD to expand and revitalize the mall. Unfortunately, the proposal was rejected 3 million to 9 million, with 7.8 million of the no votes coming from 2 people. Sorry, Metagamma Mall. Better luck next time.
Sorry, Metagaming Mall. Better luck next time. Like, how much it took for him to make this video, I respect. I respect that. How much time does it take for people to make things like Metagaming Mall? I don't think he comprehends what it takes to make something like Metagaming Mall. Maybe I just need to see what you've built, fine sir. What have you built? Other than a very, very strong opinion.
The Decentraland Report is one of the most fascinating elements of Decentraland, and it breaks my heart that we can't give it the time it truly deserves.
Listen, that is worth a freaking... Somebody clip that right there. Somebody clip that right there. If you ask me, this guy who is complete fudster on Decentraland says this is the most fascinating element of Decentraland.
Decentraland Report is one of the most fascinating elements of Decentraland, and it breaks my heart that we can't give it the time it truly deserves.
Then let's do a follow-up episode, Dan. Dan, hit me up, bro. Come on. All respect, love. I mean, I think you know my personality at this point, clearly. You know what we doing. You know what we doing. You've seen a couple of my streams. Dan, I wish you would comment in chat, Dan, if you're there. Dan, are you there? If you're there, Dan, comment in chat. People, drop a 9 in chat and let Dan know he's welcome here. I want everybody to know. Drop a 9 in chat to show your respect for Dan, your respect and appreciation for Dan. Dan, you're tuned in. I know you are, bro. You just dropped this. Let's see. Just not too long ago. Dan, you're welcome here. You can see chat is showing some love. All 7 of us. I think you can hold all of us off. But the fact that the most fascinating part of Decentraland, I am not for the masses. I am not about a million people. I will never have, don't expect me today, tomorrow, next month. One day when the world evolves, we might have 1 million people here on this channel. But the world's not going to have 1 million people on this channel right now. I don't think people put things on video and put 9 minutes, a 9-minute clip. I don't think people say that out of irony. I think he's being absolutely honest. I think Dan is very much so amazed at what we've built. I don't think Dan has ever built anything like this before, and he's impressed. The guy is impressed. He's like, how the hell did you get $250,000 to build a live action role play version of reporting? That is a dystopian version of, how did you do that? I'll tell you, Dan. You know how I did that? Because I'm an artist, Dan. I'm a freaking artist, okay? How much do you think the Mona Lisa is worth. Is it not just paint on canvas? He mentions me later in the video as well. Oh, we got to get the later in the video. Am I in the Oh. Dude, this guy is literally I am your teacher, Dan. Dan, you have more homework to do, Dan. I give this, if I'm going to grade you as your teacher, Dan, I'm going to give this a B+. I'm going to give this a B+. You could have got an A- if you included user interview or interviews with anybody. Is there any interview portion of this? Now, I have to say, even my experiences, but either way, I'm going into the metaverse, so people can actually see, like, you're not actually going into the metaverse. You're just taking little clips. I see you explored the Decentraland Report a little bit, but Dan, if you wanted to get an A-, you need to interview some users. Okay, I see. Dan got the video of when I was on NBC. He did. Let's check it out. That's why Dan had to get me. He was like, listen.
It does here, and it will do in about a year, I believe.
The spine of this story is built not on what Decentraland did or was doing, but what it will do. All of the features that will be implemented and benchmarks it will hit. Journalists and vloggers who very understandably don't know the deep lore of Decentraland's development still mention VR as a thing that just hasn't been implemented yet, despite the feature being scrapped.
Once VR glasses are integrated, the experience is going to be on a whole other level.
Decentraland craves legitimacy, but it can subsist on crumbs. It is a speculative real estate scheme which is rapidly approaching the Nigerian prince level of self-selection. That means that for its purposes, all it needs is for people to discuss it and for the conversation to feature the defenses we've been discussing. It's just a prototype, it will improve. The metaverse is inevitable. Because this reporting loads the basis for investment advice like this to sound believable.
Land is hitting all-time highs for value, and people are asking, like, you know, can people really afford to buy these plots for a lot? Yes, because there's going to be a large commercial and business entities that can make a lot more than what they're going to pay for this land. They know it. It has long-term ramifications in the industry, so it's a great investment.
If you took Kevin's advice at the time, you'd be in the red less than 2 weeks later, have lost half your...
What? I would expect someone like that to say that, because he needs to ask, how did I get the 120, how did I get the other half of the $250,000, bro? How did I get the other half of the $250,000? It's called being a good creator. It's called being a good business person. The value of land, if you've been tuned into this channel, you know the value of land is not in the speculative value, because most people don't even know how to use it. Imagine having a hammer and saying the value of a hammer is only based on the speculation of the hammer. Of course, the value of a freaking hammer is going to go down. Now imagine the value of a hammer to somebody who knows how to build. Well, goodness gracious, Dan, you know what? You just went down to a B. You're misleading people here as to, but damn, that's pretty cool. I'm on his freaking graph. Look at that. This is freaking cool.
Investment 2 months later and be down 80 to 90% today. That is the danger posed.
Nice. That is amazing.
By not.
That is amazing. Another thing that he doesn't realize is that by creating in Decentraland, by creating a really great brand in Decentraland, you can attract other builders and other brands to build things next to you to increase the value of your land. That's the actual way to grow your value of your land. It's not by buying it and waiting and sitting on your hands. The way to grow the value of your land is to actually build something really dope on your land that attracts other brands that are of value. Now, if you've ever been to the Decentraland Plaza, Decentraland Report area, then you know that right next to our build, soon after, was launched Klein Plaza by Philip Plein, one of the most worldly known luxury fashion designers. Do you know what that did for the offers on my land? You know, like I was able to, at that point, start renting out lands, like advertising on my land for a much higher price. This person does not understand business. Holy, you know, like this is just the kind of person that's gonna, if you listen to their advice, they will probably suggest you go be a teacher or work for a corporation. You have to work for somebody else who knows as much as he does. Because people like him, no offense, they have such a strong opinion. They will always tell you the right way to do things. They will never seek to imagine how your ideas might see a part of the ecosystem that he might not perceive. Why? Because you see that little thing up there? Oh, yes. You have to be careful for super opinionated people. Even myself, folks, do not take my opinion as this is the way the metaverse is. Go find your opinion. That's been my goal from day one with the Decentraland Report, with Imagine on Earth. I'm here to show you the tools and give you everything you need in order to make use of this. This isn't about what I think. This is about showing you the possibilities on how you can create value and tap into the value that you can see.
Nonchalant.
But anyone who takes the perspective where there's no value, and I believe there's value in everything, even in this individual's perspective. So let's keep listening.
Coverage of Decentraland, boosting the narrative that major brands and mass adoption are right around the corner. There's no
major brands were right around the corner, and I secured the freaking bag, bro.
No such thing as bad publicity for Decentraland. It continues to subsist through performative hype and deception, but Decentraland needs to be recognized for what it is, and we can't give it the easy way out. Decentraland is not and has never been a VR experience. You cannot order a pizza in Decentraland.
There is a VR client, but yes, VR for me has never been the way to experience Decentraland. It's never been the immediate vision for Decentraland. Everyone knows that.
Decentraland is not the future. It has never and will never be worth $1 billion.
Now, that is fair to say. And it's fair to say that, you know, first of all, no one should expect that this market is going to go to the moon anytime soon, because what you're seeing is just the general consensus of how people feel. I can say if he were, I wish that he had me on, because I could definitely shed some light on what I think are the biggest drawbacks from what Decentraland's true potential is, and where I feel like opportunities are being lost, and why I definitely I won't say diversified, but like, put it this way, I've definitely looked for different places to create, because the metaverse is not simply to put, the metaverse is not just Decentraland, folks. Decentraland is like one highway, you know, like you want to travel cross country, you can go on many highways, and maybe some days you want to go down the interstate. Maybe some days, you know, like, there are different things for different people, different strokes for different folks. Maybe some days you want chocolate ice cream. Maybe some days you want strawberry ice cream. Maybe you feel like going really fast on something. Maybe one day you want to go on a jet ski. Maybe one day you want to, you know, there's different strokes for different folks. But I think that Decentraland's biggest fallback, and where I've stepped away from Decentraland to say, you know, I think I see myself creating in more than just Decentraland, or not evangelizing Decentraland any further. Let's put it that way. I've decided not to evangelize Decentraland any further. The reason why I was evangelizing Decentraland is because it was the easiest place for creators to access their creative empowerment and creative freedom. At that time, it's where I was accessing my creative freedom. It's where I was able to create a culture, create a brand. You can see we created experiences. Look at this. Everybody was where we were all just pretending to be robots and running around Decentraland. We were creating memorable experiences. I created a hat that was meant to make noise. We created culture. That's what Decentraland, but is the culture of Web3 and Metaverse going to continue? Look at this pickle. Look at me hanging out with this pickle. Okay? Culture. Okay? Culture is sensitive like an egg. You have to take care of it. You have to nurture it. It's not like this freaking thing you buy on the market and it goes to $1 million and you sell the egg and that's that. It's nurtured over time. Look at this. This is the day we first launch the DCL Report HQ at this spot. If I were to tell you, Dan, how this ended up getting built, it wasn't through DAO funding, but you don't have that part of the story, Dan. There's a lot of part of the story, and I would be happy to join you. And yeah, stuff breaks here in the metaverse. Can you imagine how much a Ford Model T broke? If you wanted to ride a Jeep today through a mountain, you could absolutely do that. If you tried to drive a Ford Model T through the mountain, you might try, but it's going to break. And you're going to learn something, and you might innovate on those wheels, and you might say, no, we got to get up that mountain. There are people who care about getting up the mountain, and there are people who care about their opinion. I don't care about my opinion. I care about getting up the mountain. I could be wrong. And I'm okay with being wrong 1,000 times. But if I get up that mountain once, it's going to change the game. Yes, Grismall, a pickle. I believe it's more worth getting up the mountain than having the right opinion. And Dan, there's many ways to get up the mountain. And there are many explorers. And yes, many of us might be foolish. Some of us just want to take a picture with a pickle. Okay, Dan? And to you, you might just see a man with a pickle. But actually, what this picture is the first time I ever bridged a Decentraland plot into on Cyber. This is the first time I bridged between world spaces. And so people could go into Decentraland, discover this, and beam into another world. For me, you're reading about these things in books, bro, and I'm living it. If you want to learn, I hope that you continue to watch the stream. I hope you continue to hang out. But I tell you, it's happening. Whether you know it, whether you like it or not, whether you seek to understand from a first person or from outside the fishbowl, this is happening. It's happening. It is absolutely happening. I had a fun time reacting to this, folks. And actually, I'm on LinkedIn right now as well. So the goal of today was to... The goal of today was actually to stream on LinkedIn. I'm streaming on LinkedIn right now. Technically, I'm bleeding into that time, but honestly, I was not expecting to be featured this morning. I woke up this morning and found that I had been featured on this hour. This is a movie. This is a movie about the metaverse. This is an hour. It's a documentary, an hour and 50 minutes. And I have to say, it's been an honor to be included in this, Dan. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I hope you do a part 2 and you include me in this. So, I do have another theme topic to get into, so I can't do more. But y'all, you know what? Go ahead. I'm going to follow Dan. Thank you for the feature. If you do a part 2, I am 100% down for an interview. Heart. All right, I let Dan know. Y'all, go ahead and please, all 10 of you who are a part of this community, please go ahead and hit a retweet on this. Let's all just retweet that, comment on that. Let's let Dan know that we definitely are down for an interview.